So welcome everybody, and I'm sure that you know by now, the celebration is Imbolc, or Candlemas, and it is that time when, it's so beautiful because I think I've been hearing it a lot from a lot of people, right? Because now it's winter, we're in a pandemic, you're feeling even more constrained, and there's nowhere to go, nothing to do, you're in your house, and that's why this holiday talks about this idea of now connecting to the divine, connect to the divine in a creative way. What is your creativity? What do you like to do? Each one of us, we talk about it all the time at Gathering of Light, of how unique each person is, and that your unique spiritual expression needs to be put out into the world through the specific path that you choose to use to express that. But art is a beautiful and wonderful way to do that. I want to share a Sufi line with you out of a poem, and it says, "There is a seed in the dark of my heart, and it grows and reaches for you." And I wanted to share that poem, that line, because it reminded me about this idea of creativity and where it all went for me in my life. So I'm going to just share a story with you. In 3rd grade, I was in Catholic school, so it was a private school, and everybody was in their uniforms. It was 60 kids in the class, and we're in their little desks, and it was in the Bronx, and we're all lined up, and everything, you walked in straight lines, you sit, and you sat, you did everything the way you were supposed to. Everything was very proper. And art was a little cart going around, and the nun would come in with a little cart, and you get your paper, and you get your medium, whatever you use, and you get your assignment. So this one day, we had pastels. Pastels, the first time in my life I ever touched like these crayons that kind of melted on the paper. It was a wonderful way of just blending and moving the color together. I was so excited. My desk became this beautiful world within a world, and I could reach out with it out of the school and on that page, and it became this beautiful art, and I lost myself in it. And for some reason I did a giraffe. I was drawing a giraffe. I can't remember why that is. And I just worked on that, and I felt like this presence of the divine was with me in a sense of that there were no walls around me. I could reach out to the sky, and it was just so much fun. And the nun came by. Now, we couldn't leave our seats. Everything that was given to you from the cart as it went up and down the aisles. And the nun came by, and she looked at what I did, and she said, "Who did that?" And I looked at her confused, because I didn't go anywhere. Nobody else came to my desk but her. And I said, "I did." And she looked at me again. She says, "Who did that?" I said, "Sister, I did." And she says, "No, you didn't. That was too good for a 3rd grader." And she smacked me on the side of the head, dragged me down to the principal's office, and I never wanted to draw again. Because I was bad, and it shut me down, and it shut me off. All of us have a place of creativity within us that unfortunately, because of the way the world works, a lot of us have been shut down. Maybe not as harshly as my experience was, but for some of you, somebody judged you. You went to sing a song, and somebody said, "Oh, you're off key." Or you wanted to paint a painting, and people said, "Stay in the lines," or "It has to be this color," or "Why are you doing it like that?" And it shut us down, and it cut us off from a real, unique, and special place within us. Or what about poetry and putting down words that just really describe what's going on inside our heads? Another thing for me is that when, even going back even further, when I was in kindergarten, we're teaching the colors, and I'm looking at it, and I'm saying to myself, I said, "Well, you're telling me that's red, you're telling me that's blue, and that's green." I said, "What if your blue is green to me, and what if your red is, and what if the world looks different to you?" And isn't that amazing that everybody can have a different perspective, and they can even be seeing things different than me? And again, I was told, no. One way. Just do it one way. One way doesn't work. One way doesn't evolve us, doesn't lift us, doesn't bring us to a place place of glory and excitement and movement. We have to continue to challenge ourselves. And now in this place of darkness, this place of cold, this place of being isolated, it is now is more important than ever to do that thing that you said you were always going to do. I heard it said by somebody else during this time of pandemic, if there was something you always wished you can do creatively, and you're not doing it now during the pandemic, you really didn't want to do it. So this is your last chance, folks. I'm going to think positive about this. We're moving out of this pandemic soon enough. But now is your last chance to get those art materials, to get out that book and start writing those poems, to write that song, to play that music, to do it as loudly as you can. Look, you have all the space and the time that you need now to do it. But do it with the glory of divinity. Do it with this sense of connecting yourself and bringing yourself up higher and higher and higher to your evolutionary being. Deepak Chopra talks about that idea of the pure potentiality that is in consciousness. Pure potentiality. We have within us that pure potential to reach out, to do these things, to be this creative force. Look at the wisdom that we've been handed in our earth-based traditions, telling us no. Because this time of the wheel, this winter, is about inner knowing. It's about wisdom. It's about searching for that light within. Deep within the core of the earth is molten lava, is fire, is heat. Deep within you is a light, is a spark that the divine put there. Be that brilliant lamp onto the world. Be expressive with it. Paint it. Put Tiffany glass on your lantern so that the divine shines through in all color. Don't be afraid anymore. This is part of our spiritual journey, our enlightenment, our waking up. It's to challenge ourselves and to then go back to those times when we might have been shut down and write them out and talk to the characters. Talk to the characters. Maybe for me, it would be talk to that nun that didn't understand what she was doing. And forgive. I don't know what was in her head that day. I don't know what was going on in her life. Right? Socrates had said, be kind to everybody you meet because everybody's fighting a hard battle. They're fighting the battle of being within themselves and their own self-criticism and their own self-talk and their own holding on to the personality and the self that they should be to fit into these boxes of life and living, rather than to allow ourselves to soar. One of the exercises that we usually do, we don't usually talk this time of year for this service, specifically when we're together. We have everybody go around the room in little stations and do the art project that they never would do. We do some weaving crosses for St. Bridget, or we'll do some writing of poetry, or we'll do some painting, and we'll get creative and allow ourselves with spiritual community for other people to say, that's beautiful. That's so great. That's unique. I love that expression of you. I love the way you express yourself. Because sometimes we need each other to tell us about our divinity, to tell us that we're worthwhile, to tell us that we can do something amazing and sweet and lovely, and so uniquely our expression. So one of the exercises that we had was to think about, to go and sit down in a spot and think about a crocus. Crocus, right? That's one of the first little plants that come up in the spring. They're right now in this hard, harsh earth. If you go outside, even in the cold, and touch the ground, the earth is like concrete. But yet this crocus is nourishing, it's getting ready to lift and you touch a crocus, it's so gentle, it's soft. but yet it's so powerful because it breaks open winter. So this is the challenge, to break open winter in your own life. Now think about what that means. If I were the crocus in the dark, dark place of earth, in the cold, cold hardness, how do I reach out to the sun? How do I reach out to the air? How do I reach out and put my vulnerable, gentle self into view for all to see? Well, the crocus does it in glory, does it in beauty, and does it over and over again, no matter what. So my call to you, this Imbolc, this Candlemas, is to allow yourself to be creative, to do something special. If you do it tonight, share it with us tomorrow at our spiritual speaking. If not, just continue to share it. Call up another member. Don't be afraid to show it, to share it, to be it. And if you are still afraid to do that, well, then just start and do it. There's not much more time in this pandemic, right? Right? We know that it's going to lift and we're going to be free. So do that thing you wanted to do. Learn that instrument. Find out something. Even if you just can play one song, do it. Do it. Write just a half of a lyric. Nancy, write your book. All of you out there that are doing the things that you do. This day, let this spark of remembrance, let this crocus analogy allow you to be the beautiful, wonderful self that you're meant to be. So it is.